those are the 7 clubs that were listed on your agenda. I also reached Spiritually Speaking, and they were unable to send someone, but D. Childs, one of the members, wanted me to indicate to you that they meet the first and third Sundays from 2 to 3:30, plus they have a little social time. They meet in Palm Desert, although of course now it's Zoom, and she wanted to emphasize that they're a warm, welcoming club, open to all. So if you are available on a middle of a Sunday afternoon and this sounds intriguing to you, Spiritually Speaking, you can email Dee and she will get the information to you to join them. These were current or active clubs, and I guess until recently, or until COVID set in, we had prison clubs and halfway house clubs that were of great value, not only to the individuals who were incarcerated or newly released, but also it gave Toastmasters an opportunity to volunteer, to get out and make a difference in the communities. But I think that probably those are not in existence right now. But if you're interested in the prison clubs, the halfway clubs, knowing about them, and perhaps in the future they would get up and running again, if you contact us, we know some individuals who have been highly involved in both of those. Well, as we were planning this meeting, Tom and I took a little detour and we took a trip down memory lane. We were amazed at how many specialty clubs have existed in District 12 in the past. And I'm going to share about them. They're not in existence right now. So why am I talking about them? Well, number one, it's informational. It's fun to find out what kind of clubs we had. And secondly, you might say, wow, that sounds great. Maybe we could get another one like that, resurrected, and have another club that is similar to what existed in the past. So if any of these interest you, Tom and I, with our 90 plus years of Toastmastering, have probably attended, or at least we know who to turn to find out more about them. So I'm going to go down a list. I have a few minutes to do so, and I think you'll find this quite interesting. It was mentioned by Michael, I think, Michael Olson, that we had a book club. It was Word Wizards.
Yay!
We met at the Barnes and Noble bookstore. Where else? And I was a member of that. I think I was the one that gave it its name, Word Wizards. We had a little contest, but it was quite nice and I miss it. And so maybe there's somebody out there that wants to get a book club going again. Another specialty club was an improv club. Some of these I'm not sure what the name was, but anyway, it was improv. It was fun. It was physical. You really put your gestures into play. I remember we all took part in being some giant machine. One person would start out and get a motion going, and then the next one would join in. And pretty soon we had this big, long line of people with this gigantic moving machine type apparatus that we became. But anyway, the improv club didn't last too long, but then I think it kind of joined forces with the Storytellers Club. Ooh. And that was one of my favorites. I thoroughly enjoyed the Storytellers Club. I love storytelling, and it gave us an opportunity to really get creative and learn from one another and have a lot of fun doing so. DTM Club. Do you know at one point we had a club that was for all those members who had achieved their DTM? Another, well, I think you can figure this one out. I think it was called Wine and Cheese.
Yeah.
And I know Roz was part of that. And I think they had some very pleasant meetings at area wineries. But anyway, Roz will be one who can tell you more about Wine and Cheese. We've had university clubs. I remember visiting at Cal State San Bernardino, I believe, but there might have been additional ones. So what impressed us is that they had professors and students attending, and they were really on equal footing, equal status. So a student wouldn't be afraid of evaluating a professor's speech and so on. Anyway, and one professor, I think, expected it, or the students were, their membership was paid or something of the sort. Anyway, I don't know if we have any remaining, but what a wonderful opportunity for university level people to get the knowledge and the self-confidence of presenting themselves. So
Connie?
university clubs. Yes, Greg.
Yes, in 1992, I was the mentor for the Speakeasy Club 8704 at the university. And it was a thrill to visit them the other day. They didn't even know who I was but I did mention I was their mentor and put the club together. And it was kind of fun to see a club last that long, that many years, once you started, and they're still going strong, and they're still doing our mission focused.
Are they still
Yeah.
involved with the university?
Manuel years old, isn't it?
Oh, okay. At the UCR
Yeah.
campus. Oh, okay. Great.
Oh, yeah.
There was tumbleweeds, and I know tumbleweeds would roll on over to any of the clubs that were needing some help. Their mission was to assist clubs that needed assistance. Islamic Club. I remember visiting that. The meetings were held at UCR.
At the Islamic Center.
At the Islamic Center. And I have a couple cute stories there. I visited and I really wanted to do what I should do to know about the club and dress appropriately and so forth. I think Lois may have visited that club,
Yeah.
and Sandy Amelino. And so I asked, well, what do I do? And so I was instructed, covering my arms and covering my head and so forth. I tried to make sure I did what was appropriate. The club itself was for men only, but we came in and gave evaluations and helped out with the meetings. But what also intrigued me was, I believe it was Sandy told me that she went to the meeting, and following the Toastmaster meeting, they would be divided into men's area and women's area, different rooms. And when she went, they had delicious food from the countries. And I thought, oh, wow, that sounds great. So I went shortly after. I enjoyed the meeting very much. And then we were invited to stay with them while they had food afterward. And that meeting, they ordered pizza. So I enjoyed my meeting very much. It was quite intriguing, but I didn't get my food. Camelot, dedicated to humor. Ron Shockey was the one that started that club, and he was a winner of the humorous speech contest, at least one for our district.
It was a QS.
And he was a QS, and he was also a speech writer of jokes for Phyllis Diller or somebody. But anyway, so that one was dedicated to humor. Tom was looking around on the internet and found that there was I don't know which Middle Eastern country, there's a club, and the name of the club, I hope this is correct, is Ha 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 Ho 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 He He. I think that's a humor club also.
But who knows?
But who knows? Some more fun. We've had at least one, probably more than one, singles club, but the people got married. Somebody was describing to me, oh, the president, he was a good looking guy. And then this girl came in, and well, anyway, pretty soon people started marrying, and then there was no singles club anymore. Now, if you know Becky Palmer, you might give her a hard time about this. Becky Palmer went to a club. This is way back when we were still part of Founders District.
Your visitation.
And she was visiting. We think it was when she was area director, but I'm not really sure about that. Treehouse Fun Ranch. it was a nudist colony. And of course, everybody wanted to ask Becky, where do they put their Toastmaster pins?
It gives a whole new meaning to the word fig leaf, you know.
Yeah, your fig leaf. Oh, well, but I don't think they were nudists for the
Well,
club
I had a
meetings.
different name for it. I call it the Happy Valley Fun Farm. I'm not sure.
There was, not in our district, but I believe Founders District, a club we heard about, and some of us went over together because we wanted to check this out.
Sandy.
Woohoo. I think it was Sandy Emilino found out about it. It was called Taboo. And we were told no subject, no language, nothing was off limits. And I thought, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you know,
Ooh.
wine, you know, alcohol.
And it wasn't that wild. Not at all.
So if you really want a wild club, maybe you should come up with your own taboo.
Tom saying maybe you need to come up with your own taboo club, because that one wasn't so taboo as we thought it was going to be. I wasn't really shocked. This is a not a taboo, well, taboo also. This is a specialty club to me. Decades ago, I was area governor and I had to make my visits. I went to a club that to me was a specialty club for the early birds, dawn busters. I couldn't believe they met at 6:15 a.m. I am a night owl. And I thought, oh, wow, as I drove over, this is what the world looks like at 5:30 in the morning. Anyway, and they still meet, and I understand they've been meeting for decades and are quite a strong club. But
Yes.
now, ideas, those, and at the end, if you know of some other clubs that we've forgotten, we'll have you share, but some ideas. Perhaps a club in a retirement community or senior center, a club that would address the needs of foster kids that are aged out of the foster system. Because we in Toastmasters know that continued learning is important, socialization opportunities, getting skills and confidence to go out into the world, interviewing and other, just presenting yourself. So we could start clubs in areas that have populations that really profit from those parts of Toastmasters. Tom and I, one of our big loves is youth. We're both retired teachers. And so the Gavel clubs have given us great pleasure in helping out Gavel clubs. And those are growing. And I think I'm telling Tom, maybe we should have a Speakers Bureau meeting totally dedicated to the Gavel clubs and bring on some of those young people to share their experiences. Now, I'm letting Tom see, is this appropriate? Well, I'll share it
Oh,
anyway.
sure.
Okay, I think I saw someplace about advanced pathways or helping others with pathways, but some of us, we Luddites, are not particularly fond of pathways, and we have thought of having a club. Well, my ideas for names were Back to Basics or Ralph's Rebels, Ralph Smedley. I don't know what he'd think of pathways. Tom thought of Legacy Legions or Pathway Poo-Pooers. But even though it may sound negative to think about something like this, actually there may be a need for such a club, because that would help to avoid losing members who are leaving because of pathways, or people who have left could be brought back. It could be instructional. There could be help along the way to try to make these people that don't know much about pathways learn more and perhaps buy into that. But in the meantime, they wouldn't leave just because of pathways frustration, because we know how valuable Toastmasters is, and what a shame for people. And sometimes they're the people who've been around a very long time and have much to share with others, leaving because of this new way of dealing with your educational programs. So that's just my thought. Michael Ozier, I think I emailed you. I didn't get a response, but maybe here I'll pin you down. Do you know of any clubs, specialty clubs, since you know about places all around the world that we haven't mentioned yet, that either exist or have existed? Michael Ozier, share with us, please, about specialty clubs that you have known.
Well, there's two that I can think of. One exists today, the Communication Leaders of the Inland Empire, which we like to think we specialize in longer presentations and workshops, and many of our members do give those workshops. Speaking of improv, we just did a whole 2 hours on improv. 3 of us gave speeches and we practiced improv techniques. We've also done ideas on saying yes to leadership and many activities around leadership and developing those skills. Angie Nett is a past president, and currently the club growth director-elect is our president. So that's a club, especially if you want to give those longer workshops, 45 minutes or so, that involve your audience. This is a great opportunity because there's a lot of calling for that. Tell me, why are you shaking your head? Maybe not to us. Roz, us, and I, so that club meets the second Wednesday evening, 6:30. And then Roz reminds me of one that I totally miss, Masterminds. And past district director Arlene Bloss really started that one because she had some ideas. And that's where you would come and really figure out together what should be your next steps, whether it was leadership or what to present, how to become a keynote speaker. So that I miss that, the Masterminds group. And I really enjoyed that one. I've been in many advanced clubs. Some succeeded, some didn't. And so there's just a few that I want to mention. Now, there is a new club forming in District 100. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's going to do whiskey tasting. That'd be one that's worth checking out. And Founders Beer Club, where they give speeches, and they always talk about, someone gives a speech about the current beer they're tasting. So I know that's alcohol based and it's not for everybody, but there's an opportunity to succeed in many ways. And those are just 3 that come off the top of my head that yeah, go ahead, Martha, I agree. So beer club, a wine club, you heard about the Masterminds, which I think we should bring back, because that could be another club where we could grow future leaders. And of course, the Communication Leaders of the Inland Empire is still functioning, second Wednesday, 6:30. Thank you, Connie, for the opportunity to share just a little bit and talk about table topics on the spot.
Connie, can I speak to another specialized club?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes, please, Greg.
One of the things I've been able to help District 57 a little bit up here is I see that the hospitals really like the Toastmaster Club. I visited the CEO a couple of years ago and explained the benefits of Toastmasters and how it might bring her staff to work together, not only for better communications, but in leadership, team building, and so forth. And we're successful starting a club there. And I've gone and visited a couple of other CEOs. These clubs seem to be specialized in that their members of the hospital employees seem to really get a lot out of it. They get to know each other better. They're able to communicate better with each other as a team, and also their leadership skills in managing the different departments they have. And I found that the CEOs were very happy about the summit that brought that together to make their whole hospital work together. So I would wonder, maybe the specialized type of clubs and hospitals, you might take a list of hospitals and their CEOs and build a team of effective Toastmasters to go start specialized clubs in hospitals and see how it enhances their teamwork and their performance as a hospital.
Connie, may I speak about some some
Let me throw
former
in,
advanced
while
clubs.
we're on
specialty
hospitals,
clubs.
let me finish up with that because we used to have a club at the VA hospital, which is the reason that we were able to use the VA as our meeting place, thanks to Sandy Amolino. But we had a club at Kaiser, and we used to have a member, and I think she may still work there, but it had a club there that was so great for their purposes of having their people communicate, nurses and doctors and so on. But it was great for the district because they often provided us a free location to conduct events like contests or special events. And because they provided this big room, as long as we didn't charge money, we could have the free meeting room, and it was a really good facility. Go ahead, Richard.
For some of you who've been around for a number of years, you may remember Galloping Gourmets. It was called Galloping because the idea was it would travel around different divisions at nice restaurants. Probably 15, 20 years ago, we had a club that every month, and Greg will remember this, the district leaders would meet once a month, and one bright district officer, governor, said, we're meeting once a month. We should have a club here. It became Club 909, and the club actually did very well for a number of years. If you were a district officer, you were strongly encouraged to join that club. Just Division A also had a leadership club for many, many years. I think it was Division A. I'm not even sure what it was called again, but it was very strong for many years.
1067.
1067. Actually, yes, 1067. We
18
also had a club
Grandmasters.
called Amigos Toastmasters, which met for a number of years for people that wanted to learn to speak Spanish better. And there's a club in Founders District which calls us ESL Masters #1, but teaching adult English as a second language, I was actually, I think, responsible for the first ESL club in the world, ESL Toastmasters, which met after my class. We would meet, and then I would invite Toastmasters like Marjorie Benish to join us, and we'd have a meeting right after our class. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that District 12 really was put on the map by our prison clubs and our halfway houses clubs. We have just a few left, but at one time, I think we had probably close to 9, 10 prison clubs, and we still do have, I believe, 2 halfway house clubs. So those are a few other additional clubs. Some clubs I know they're in the process. They're trying to form. There's one for Toastmasters over 50. I think I now qualify for that club. They're trying to form that in District 100. 100 is working on a lot of specialty clubs right now. They're also working on a pet lovers Toastmasters club. And I'm not sure if it's 100 or 12 is working on a club for camera lovers. So you love ideas, books, there's lots of ideas. And you probably find people who have a similar idea, similar love.
Yes, thank you, Richard. I think it is fascinating to learn just how many specialty clubs or advanced clubs, whatever you want to call them, that have existed over the years. And perhaps we planted just a little seed in the brains of some of you to have some of these brought back or brand new ones. Are there, before I give conduct to Tom to close up here, is there any club that we've forgotten or any ideas for clubs that haven't been mentioned? Marilyn.
Maybe this is a segue into what you're going to be talking about next, but I think it'd be kind of interesting while we're still on Zoom to actually have a club. I'm not too sure what is it. It's like an exchange program where there's speakers, exchanges, and evaluators, and all around the world, and have an evaluator from China, a speaker from who knows. It's just the speaker exchange program we used to have.
Yeah,
I think.
internationally.
Kind of a neat thing.
That's an interesting idea, Marilyn. Way back, there used to be a program of speaker evaluator teams going out to one another. They pair up 2 clubs and you'd send a speaker evaluator to a club and they'd send it to your club. And this would just take it a little bit beyond that to where we wouldn't have to be just within our district, but other clubs all around the world. Sounds very interesting. Somebody might want to
Although I guess
take that idea and try to make
I
it
guess
happen.
that's the international contest, right? So,
And Connie, that was back before the computer program where we filled out reams of paper to get our clubs in with the reams of paper, which included speaker evaluation teams and what clubs they've been in. You got so many points, and you fill out this whole big file of papers and send it to world headquarters.
Yeah, it was an actual program that we had. Okay, anyone else before I give Tom the,
Connie, there are a couple of people with their hands up.
yeah, I guess I don't see everybody on the screen. Just,
Wani Bynum?
oh, okay.
Yes, I had a question. There is in the chat, somebody had mentioned an advanced pathways, and I just wasn't sure of what that club did, but it sounded interesting. Does anybody know what the advanced pathways, what their focus is? Is it to help you get through the pathways faster?
I can read you their mission. This is Missy.
Oh.
I can read you a mission. So their mission is the online-only Advanced Pathway Club supports members in refining their mentoring, coaching, and technology skills while serving all of District 12. And they focus highly on pathways. So it's a great club to make sure you're using your pathways. To join that club, they're trying to get chartered. You would have to at least be on level 2 of your pathways.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sybil also has her hand up.
Yes, when the topic was speaker evaluated exchange, I know in the 80s and 90s, we were encouraged to do that. And I was just thinking that some of us who do have a low membership club, maybe if that club would start a, and I don't know about using the acronyms for speaker evaluator exchange program with another low member club, and then both would benefit and hopefully attract more new members, because people do prefer to join a club with more members.
That's a really good suggestion, because what happens is you hear your speakers all the time and your evaluators all the time, but if you go to another club, and I always suggest, especially if you're in contests, to go to other clubs, but it's a great eye opener to go to another club, be evaluated by somebody else, and for that evaluator to go to the other club. So it's just a good thing to stimulate and add some extra excitement to your club meetings.